Hi there, my name's Tom from Vape Club, and today we'll be taking a look at the new AnyBox by Kanga. Some have called it the Kneebox. I'm going to go with the AnyBox just because I prefer the way that sounds. The new AnyBox is a temperature control device capable of firing up to 60 watts. It's an all-in-one design and features a 10mm capacity tank. Okay, so let's take a quick look in the box and see what comes with it. So you have the mod itself. I have gone to the liberty of already putting a battery in here. We get your instruction manual, a guide to priming the coils, and a guide to using wattage based on the VG concentration of your liquid. Always good advice to prolong the life of your coils. Some stickers to cover your battery, and the contents of the box. So we have our RBA cotton, and underneath here we have our little magic blue screwdriver, as well as some microcoils and some replacement screws for the RBA section, which is here. We have our black drip tip with this particular version. I'm not sure if it's different colour with different versions. And lastly, a replacement, what Kanga are calling stainless steel OCC coil. It's still a 0.5 ohm in this particular kit, and the 0.15 Ni200 comes installed in the device itself. One thing I noticed whilst opening the kit up is slightly confusing information. For example, on the card here it says we have a 0.15 ohm Ni200 coil, yet on the back of the box it refers to this as a 0.15 ohm SSOCC. We've talked to people very briefly at Kanga, and the understanding is that the new Ni200 coil is actually coated in stainless steel, hence it being called an SSOCC, which stands for stainless steel organic cotton coil. Some say that size does matter. In this instance, however, it may be the smaller device that wins the day. Here we have a comparison with the AnyBox and three of our other best-selling mods. You can see that whilst the device is the same height as the Kanga Subbox Mini and the Smok M80 Plus, without the tank attachment on top, you're saving a lot, essentially. For those that like to put their devices in their pockets, what you'll find, especially in your back pocket, is there's very little chance of you damaging the device by doing so, as we may have all done it previously, whereby something's going in our pocket, you sit down and the connection will get bent, which is obviously far from ideal. So here is a very basic size comparison so you can see. Just for those that aren't necessarily aware, this is the MVP3 Pro. This is the 60 watt version with an Atlas 2 on top. Then we have the Smok M80 Pro with a sub-tank mini on top, the AnyBox, and the Kanga Subbox Mini starter kit. So this is the device in terms of size comparison sideways on. In relation to the Kanga Subbox Mini, you can see at an angle that it is essentially the same width, which is somewhat unsurprising. And personally, I really like the feel of this in the hand. As you can see, I've been told before I haven't got the biggest hands ever. What I lack in hand size, I make up for in heart, but it fits comfortably in my tiny little mittens, and provided you're doing a side-on vape, I don't really see a big problem. I used to, or tend to like, using my thumb as the fire button. That wouldn't necessarily be the easiest, but you really have to be looking to find a fault if you're going to moan, like I am, about that. Fine. So to start, you will need to install an 18650 flat top battery that I mentioned earlier. This is sold separately and does not come with the kit, just to be clear. To do so, you will need to take some form of device, in this instance it's a coin, 50p coin, and insert this into the small groove at the base to unscrew. I'm not going to unscrew fully, but just to give you an idea, that's how you will access it. The other thing you'll need to do, obviously, is fill up the tank. To gain access to the internal tank, you need to unscrew. Out pops the coil itself. As you can see, this is the 0.15 ohm Ni200, or stainless steel OCC, depending on which way you want to call it. And here you can see, I don't know if it captures it well there, but you have a small portion where you can see directly down into the tank itself. Some of you may have noticed that the coil has changed, at least in terms of shape. So we now have, and you can tell from the blue O-ring that this is still an Ni200, but it's no longer the cuboid shape, which I particularly liked because it was easy to grip. They've now reverted to a cylinder type shape. The same can be said with the standard stainless steel OCCs. They have also changed shape. But as far as I am aware, you can still use the original OCCs in the kit. Once you fill the tank, it's the same as it would be normally in terms of letting the coil prime or sit. I'm also going to prime the coil just by putting 1 drop in each of the juice inlets either side of the coil. Kanga recommends that you leave the coil sit in the liquid for at least 30 seconds before vaping. This is to ensure that the liquid soaks into the wick fully. We would ask at Vape Club though that you leave it sit for at least 5 minutes just to be sure that it's definitely soaked in enough liquid to avoid dry hits, which obviously you'd hope to avoid with temperature control, but just to be safe. Firstly, the form factor is amazing. Great size, fits in the hand comfortably, goes in your pocket with no issue. We were discussing earlier, if you take the drip tip off, it's essentially the same size as a 20 deck. Those things we all used to smoke. As well as that, you have a wonderful and huge 10mm capacity, temperature control functionality, and up to 60 watts even if you don't want to use the temperature control function. So the cons, and there aren't many. One thing I did notice when inserting the battery was removing the battery cap at the base was no issue, but getting it back on again did prove a little bit troublesome. The reason for this, as far as I can tell, and it may be different with the final product, but it doesn't look like stainless steel has been used for the threads. For this portion, it has for the tank, but not for the battery cap on this particular model. It looks like copper, potentially brass. Other than this, it is an all-in-one design. So with the plus comes the minus that you cannot remove the tank to clean it, though you can still obviously clean the tank in some way. You can run it underwater and empty it out, but obviously you need to be careful doing so. Along with that, there is no discernible airflow option. It is what it is, as it were. But from taking a vape on it, the airflow does seem fine. There's no issues there, as long as you're doing a direct-to-lung hit. At the moment, I have the settings on 380 Fahrenheit at 40 watts. So I guess the only thing left for me to do before I leave you good people is to take a vape. As you can see, as with the other OCCs at 0.5, obviously this is the NI200 at 0.15. Vapor production is excellent, and I can assure you the flavour is outstanding. And that's about it. Please feel free to subscribe to our channel for more videos. And if you have any questions regarding this or any other device that we sell, feel free to comment in the comment section below. And myself and my colleagues will do the best to get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks for watching. I've been Tom from Vape Club. See you next time. Hi there, my name's Tom from Vape Club, and I just post this. One thing I did notice whilst opening up the kit, I normally get Lion.
It's like a big fluffy big bear. A big charismatic bundle of exuberance. So exuber.
That's what I was looking for.
Exuber.
Okay.
Exude for me.
I'll do what I can, good sir.